Hey guys, Corey with Drive Creative Agency. What we're going to go over today is the 5 things that every company should ask their web development partner before they get started. Okay. Number one, portfolio. Right. Obviously, if you're going to work with a web development company or any creative agency for any service, asking for their portfolio is probably appropriate. Don't focus so much on like the industries they've worked with. I mean, obviously, it can help if somebody's niched out like in the manufacturing industry and it's a manufacturing website or e-commerce. But be open-minded to that. But really, you should be looking for just quality of work. Do the designs stand out, right? From a development standpoint, like if you look at their website, is it fast? Is it easy to use? Those are all things just to consider. Also, the brands they've worked with too, right? If a company's working with reputable brands, there's a good chance that they're probably a pretty good agency partner. They have a lot of experience and probably have a decent reputation. Number two, content management system. Are you going to develop my website with a content management system? So a content management system gives you the ability after the site's developed as a client, right, as somebody who might not have a lot of experience in website design to actually make edits to content on the website and add blogs and add additional pages after the website's developed, which can obviously be very, very advantageous. So that's kind of, there's not really a standard in web development now from like a software perspective, like which CMS are you going to use? WordPress is obviously the largest one, but having the site built on a CMS can save you a lot of headaches moving forward as far as maintenance fees and waiting on an agency to make changes that you can make in a day yourself. So I'll always ask, hey, if you need a CMS, just make sure the agency that you're choosing to build your website has experience with a content management system. Preferably, WordPress is what we would recommend. Third question to ask, right? What other services do you would offer as an agency? Are you just a web development company, or can you help me with content creation? So what I mean by that is, does the company have resources, or do they offer photography, video, and copywriting, right? So those are 3 things right there as far as content creation is concerned, because a lot of the way that your website performs from the end user's point of view is going to be based on how powerful your content is on the website. When you go on a website and you go on a website that somebody's actually going to want to engage with, obviously it has to have a good story, good content, be pretty well thought out as far as that's concerned. Other services you might want your agency to be able to perform as well. SEO, search engine optimization. So what are you going to do to my website to make sure that it's built in a way that Google is going to index it for my business related keyword terms? And other marketing services as well, as far as like social media marketing. Do you guys offer that? Can you help me build on my profiles? Can you help me advertise on social? Or do you guys have experience doing that? Is it something we can drive traffic to the website for, so you can get a return on your investment on the site that you're building? Fourth question, timeline, right? How long is the website going to take? Now this can vary a lot. Typically, in our agency, a website takes 12 to 16 weeks. Depending on size and scope, sometimes less, sometimes more. But with our clients, we always review a timeline, really at the proposal phase, at least a preliminary timeline saying, hey, if you start at this date, we're going to have these 5 or 6 benchmark sign-offs, and your website's going to launch in this week. So it is important for when you're building a website, make sure the development company gives you some type of timeline, right? Varies 10 to 20%, but make that part of the contract, that they have thought out, like how long is the site going to take. If you don't do that, you can always run the risk of the site taking a very long time to develop. Just kind of like a little tidbit. Most companies are pretty proactive and want to get your website done in the quickest possible manner without sacrificing quality. But just from my experience and from really just, the world that agencies work, if you don't have some transparency on when the site's going to get done, typically it's going to take twice as long to build because there's not really a box or an agreement around that. And the last thing, what does the scope of work really mean? When you get your proposal, just ask as many questions as you can about the actual proposal itself, right? If it says, hey, your website is going to be 5 pages. Okay, well, what do those 5 pages look like, right? Like, can we put whatever we want on those 5 pages, or is that just one template for like a brochure type thing where it's just copy, right? Are we allowed to have forms? Are we allowed to have any back-end functionality, front-end functionality? Like what is too much? What is really in scope of the project? If you ever get a proposal that's just like, yeah, we'll do your whole website for $3,000, you should really ask like a lot of questions. Like that should really raise some eyebrows and be like, okay, so if I have 100 pages, is it still $3,000, or is that going to cost me, 30 grand? And that's good for both sides of the street, right? Like you don't want to get in a relationship with a company and pretty much be pissing each other off over, hey, I thought this is what that was supposed to be, and the agency saying, well, no, it was supposed to be this, and there's a lot of confusion. Communication is really key, right? Like any project. I mean, it's really defining like, hey, this amount of money gets me this, and that's pretty much it. There should always be some leniency, right? Like if there's very small tweaks at the end, depending on the agency's process and how they develop the website, a lot of that should be mitigated from the beginning. But if there are small tweaks at the end, that's within reason. But just be careful with the scope of work. Just make sure, another question I ask, like, how many round of revisions do I get? What are the revision periods? Do I get to see the design before it's developed? How do you guys operate, and what can my expectations be at the end at launch, right? So we can have a clean, happy launch. So that's my advice. 5 things that you should ask every website company. We're going to be coming out with an ebook here in the short future in about 2 weeks. That's going to have a lot more questions that you can ask, so tune in for that. You'll be able to find that at our website at www.drivecreativeagency.com. Bring your story to the masses. I'll see you guys soon.